play a big role in how this thing all plans out. You talk about Tua and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson turned down the extension, but he also liked the tweak to be the quarterback. If Tua, falls flat on his face, Lamar Jackson doesn't get a contract. You talk about those first-round draft picks. How many first-round draft picks would you give up to put Action Jackson in South Beach? I can't wait to see how this one turns out. Saragusa is being honored, and also the late Jalen Ferguson.
Okay, so obviously great moments special there. But going back to the quarterback situation, there is reason to be paying close attention to this. You know that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens did not get a new deal done this offseason. They said the negotiations have stopped now that the season has begun. But that doesn't mean the questions have stopped. Lamar was asked about it yesterday. Here's what he said.
Respectfully, I'm really done talking about it. I told you guys before, I was going to be done with it. Week one's over with. We're done talking about it, I'm focused on the Dolphins now.
Are you able to explain why the guaranteed money was so important to you?
Like I said, I'm done talking about that, respectfully, Dolphin time, man.
Okay, so he says he's not talking about it anymore, which means, Diana, the last interview he ever gives on this subject was with you Sunday, because you had the game. You asked him a bunch of questions. He said some very interesting things to you. For those who haven't heard, recap that for us.
Yeah, let's just start with our colleagues Adam Schefter and Chris Martinson reporting that bombshell, which was the offer that Baltimore made to Lamar Jackson on Sunday morning, which was a $133 million guaranteed at signing deal. The offer was about $250, give or take a little bit here and there over the 5-6 years. And Lamar Jackson obviously turned that down. We were all aware of that. So after the game, after a nice victory against the New York Jets where he played real well, I just asked him about the situation, and he said, yeah, I did turn that down. Now, he did add that there was some more guarantees in there that weren't even reported, and he even turns that down. I did ask him, look, I knew Baltimore never offered that $250 million guaranteed money that we see the Cleveland Browns had offered Deshaun Watson. I did ask, though, if he turned that down, even though Baltimore didn't offer it. And he said, no, but kind of gave me the look, Mike, like, if they did, I would have signed that thing. That being said, he was really transparent, and he's like, look, I'm just waiting for the right offer. And when I asked him if he was going to play the rest of the season without a contract in place, without an extension for next year, is he willing to do that? He told me, we'll just have to see. We'll see about that, which may sound very basic, but that was big to me because we just all assume if he played week one, he's playing all year long without a deal. But we're just going to have to see now, Mike.
What does "we're just going to have to see," Bart, mean when you've got the season underway?
Yeah.
We wondered like crazy, would he play without the extension? I'm with Diana. I assumed if he played week one, that meant he's going to play. What does "we're going to have to see" mean?
If they agree to my terms, then I'll sign on the dotted line. See, here's the little thing that people don't realize.
No, we're going to have to see if he's going to play the whole season without the contract.
I don't think Lamar, his pedigree, he's too much of a competitor. He loves that organization. He's still getting his money. I think he probably went to Lord of London's, pulled out an insurance policy on himself. Right. But this is the thing, right? We talk about today. We're going to celebrate today, the first day of, Amazon taking on games. And what people don't realize, that's $11 billion over 11 years. What is that going to do to the salary cap next year, right? It's going to raise it up. So Lamar's playing the long game. He understands that, listen, yesterday's price is not today's price. So it's going up. So he understands Lamar Jackson's made more money by not signing a contract than any other player. And you talk about, okay, $290,000. And this is what teams do, right? They throw out the totals to try and embarrass players so we can look greedy. But $290 million, you talk about a 7-year extension, that's $41 million a year. That's under market. So Lamar Jackson is making sure that he's doing what Russell Wilson didn't do. He's making sure that the guy after him gets paid more money. See, so that's what this is what's going on. And Lamar Jackson, to me, I think is playing it, beautifully, right? Get your money, because guess what? Next year, if they franchise tag me, it's going to go up. Burrow and Herbert's going to get paid, and it's going to continue to go up, and the salary cap is going to be influenced by Amazon.
So does that suggest that everything is or isn't just fine between Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, not just for this year, but you were just talking about whether or not the Dolphins might trade for him next year? Is everything going to be just fine on into the future for Lamar and the Ravens?
I think Lamar is just like, listen, I'm just want to concentrate on football, because the better I do on the field, my price is just going to keep going up. And like when I think about the Baltimore Ravens, think about it. their whole team is built around Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Everything they do is built around one guy. And just the thought of Lamar Jackson walking out of the door out of Baltimore, like that would be just devastating for that organization. I'm still in shock that a deal didn't get done this offseason, considering the importance of Lamar Jackson.
To be clear, he can't walk out the door because they can franchise him and all that kind of stuff. But they could, in theory, they could wind up trading to some team that has 2 first-round picks, whatever the case. That's what you were talking about.
He'll be worth 5 first-round.
Oh, that's what I mean. It's incalculable. You can't come up with what his price would be in a trade. It's incalculable.
I think right now, mentally, he's in a great state. I think he's focused on football. He's confident. He's out there playing ball at a high level. Yeah. I think what would be hard for him to digest is, say he goes out there, plays amazing, but these teams have control over the player with, all doing the franchise tag. Next year, they're now trading. So if they start playing with you, if he goes out there and balls out and deserves to get paid like the top 5 quarterback, they should do it. Because if I was him, I'd be getting mad after this. I'd be mad after this season. If he doesn't get paid, I'd be frustrated and mad.
I've been in that organization for 7 years. They're not going to set a precedent, because if they set a precedent, forget what Cleveland did. If they do it, then that means Cleveland has to do it. And that means that the Chargers have to do it. So they don't want to set a precedent. Then you have the player that's trying to make sure that he's doing what he's supposed to do for the next people. I will have to come back to this. Diane, I'll get back to I'm up against the end of the hour. We're coming back to this, I promise. In the meantime, we have much more to do as we continue, including that guy. He seems aggravated, too. Is he planning to make any changes, and does he need to? Why one member of our crew says this team's in trouble. You'll hear why next. Get Up on ESPN.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
No matter where I am, NFL Plus is how I football.
Kelsey reaches for the touchdown.
I'm talking live, local, and primetime regular season games. Live audio from every game this season.
Dalvin Cook.
45-minute game replays and more.
Allen over the
in the elbow pad. Jameis Winston is going, to collect names and be comeback player of the year.
All right, so he likes the Saints a lot. And here's further fuel. The Bucs may very well lose again, because look at their injury report. Oh. It's like a Pro Bowl roster. Brady is on there with just a rest designation, but 5 wideouts are on the list. 3 of them didn't practice, both starting tackles. All right, Diana, the injury report in Tampa, that first came out. I saw Shefty tweeted that yesterday. Makes one a little bit nervous. What can you tell us?
Yeah, it does. That came from Wednesday, though, so that's the good news, right? We still got a few days left, but the Chris Godwin one is the one that really, that one stands out, just because he just got back and now he's dealing with this hamstring injury. And we'll see if the Bucs are willing to take that risk and roll the die and throw him back out there. But I know they were really happy with his rehab and how he returned off that ACL, but obviously a hamstring injury this early in the season could be something that could be nagging all year long. So the Julio Jones one, we talked about this in the offseason. Julio's going to be on this injury report every week. I can guarantee that. And it's just going to be, we're just going to see what happens on Sundays if he's going to be willing to go. This is the risk you take. He's an incredible player, but he comes with injury. So that's on the Bucs side of it, Mike.
Yeah.
The Saints side of it, you got Jameis Winston. Remember, he went in the blue tent on Sunday dealing with some back injury, and he was really sore, so he was very limited on Wednesday. I was told he's expected to go on Sunday against the Bucs, but obviously he's coming off a gigantic injury as well, so that soreness for a lot of players was really felt this past week.
All right, so it's a critical matchup. We got both teams coming in a little banged up, and the Saints have their number. We've talked about it repeatedly. The one game Tampa won in there, though, was the important one because it was the playoff game. Nick, Saints going to continue to dominate this matchup?
It's in the Dome, too.
Yes.
That's going to be tough. But I just think that Tampa and some of the question marks with the Saints, their quarterback's banged up. I know Tampa's banged up, too. But you look at the head coach. They don't have the head coach anymore. Sean Payton's gone. They got a new coach. So I'm going with Tampa on this one.
You like the Bucs?
I like the Bucs. I like the Bucs.
The division still runs through them. Bart looks skeptical.
He does.
How do you look?
I got the Saints. I think the Saints defensively matches up perfectly with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't even think just from an identity standpoint, I don't think the Bucs, they're not even the same team that they were last year. You go from, what is it, no risky, no biscuit with Bruce Arians. Now with Todd Bowles not going to be having Dolphins slinging the ball all over the field. He wants to play a more traditional type of game, run and
is that good or bad?
I think initially it's probably bad because the offensive line is still trying to find its way. I don't know if they'll be able to run the ball like that against this New Orleans Saints defense.
Right.
So, I'm giving the edge to the Saints.
Well, you got the entire interior of Tom's offensive line we were talking about. Now both tackles are on the injury report. The Saints rushed the heck out of him anyway. Is Brady in trouble on Sunday?
I mean, he's in trouble, but Todd Bowles is going with the right plan, right? Because if you look at what happened to the Saints last week, Cordarrelle Patterson ran the ball up and down their throat, and they had to really get hold of the game late in the season. But, the same thing, Nico, that you said about, the Saints, I can say about the Bucs because Todd Bowles is a new coach as well. He's the guy who was on staff. Here's the issue, right? They have bad matchups. And what we don't really talk about is how dominant Lattimore has always been traditionally against Mike Evans. So now when you don't have Chris Godwin, that allows you to be able to really, add another man to the box to make them one-dimensional.
Are they going to beat Tom Brady up? He was talking about all the lumps and bumps and bruises on his podcast after week 1. What's he going to look like after week 2?
Well, he's going to be in the wax like Triple X, you know what I mean? Because he's going to be all beat up. And the problem is a lot of these guys are sore a lot more because they don't hit in training camp. So this is the first time that they've been knocked to the ground. So now they're oversensitive. It's going to take about 3 or 4 weeks for everybody to get used to the physicality. Just like you got to get your pads set, you also got to get your body set for taking a beating for 17
Brady
weeks.
going to get beat up this week?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get knocked around a little bit. He's 45 years old. If you push a 45-year-old, they just fall right over. So, yeah, of course, I think he's going to get beat up. But he's Tom Brady. He deals with it. He knows how to recover. He's got the pliability. He's got TB12. He's got all that stuff. So, again, it's just hard for me to look at the track record. I know the Saints have won a lot, but you can't just say they're just going to keep beating Tom, keep beating Tom, keep beating Tom. I'm just going with percentages.
Well, Tom just keeps beating everybody else, so
That's
why
what I'm
can't it
saying.
happen
So
to him?
he's going to figure it out. He's going to figure it out.
Look at the number at the bottom of your screen. Our analytics give the Buccaneers a 70% chance to win this game on the road. With that injury report, that would be quite a statement for Brady's Bucs to win this game on the road against their primary rival in the division this early on. We'll see Sunday. In the meantime, we're going to Dallas next. The Cowboys star has fallen with Dak's injury.